Welcome back for another video. In this video here, we are going to do Chapter 4, Exercise 4. It's going to be the transfer fork, and it looks like the material's cast iron, so we have to set that up. And this one's a little complex, so kind of bear with me. There's a lot of dimensions going on here. I do these in real time. I don't, practice and then create the video. I think that it's more beneficial to do it this way just because I can run into some of the same problems you might and you'll be able to see me work through them. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start a sketch and I'm going to start this on the XY plane because again it doesn't really make a difference where I create it. And I have a couple ways I could do this. I could extrude the shape from either the front or the side face, or the end face, I guess. So I can either extrude the end, or I could extrude the front. In this case, I'm going to extrude the end, and one's not wrong or right, really, here. I'm just looking at what I think is probably the easiest, and that's the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to extrude from the end face. So I'm going to create a circle, and it's going to be that under arch is going to be 0, 0 here. And it looks like that is a 1-inch radius. So that's going to be a 2-inch circle. Okay, next I need to draw this to 0.75. And looks like the width of this is 0.75 as well. And it's going to extend 1.5. Notice I'm typing in my dimensions as I'm going here, which I generally don't do. I generally draw most of it, but I want to, since this is more complex, I want to kind of keep control and keep track of what I'm doing. So that's the reason that I'm doing that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw the rest of these lines. It's going to be something kind of like this, I guess. All right. So it's not exactly what we want, but you get the basic idea. So we're going to dimension this, and this is going to be 3.5. And I believe this dimension is 1.25, which pretty much sets this value here. Doesn't completely set that angle, we still have to dimension it, but we have 1 3/4 divided by 2 is going to be the dimension from here to here, which is going to be 0.5 plus 375, which is going to be 0.875. All right, so that sets that, and the width of this is 0.75. So, oops. Didn't mean to click. Oh, that's why I'm clicking on a dimension. I got to click on the 0, and this is going to be 0.375. And this here, I'm going to put the end of that line in alignment with my 0, 0. Now the only thing I need is the depth of this. And it looks like that's 1.25 as well. So that is in line with this. All right, so it is fully constrained at the moment. Now, that being said, I'm about to ruin that because I'm going to trim this circle. I did not connect this. I do not need to connect this. I am going to connect that and I'm going to trim it. Alright, so we're still fully constrained since I trimmed that. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror this. So to mirror this, I need a line to mirror over, and that I'm just going to use this line since I have one there. The other thing I could have done is I could have just made this construction geometry. What's the difference? Well, let me pull this down at dimension, and let me pull this one over So I can click that line. Let me change that to construction. Whoops. I didn't want to change that one. Just realized I want to change this one. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click construction. All right. And now we're going to go to mirror and select mirror. So I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to unselect that though. Darn it. Unselect. There we go. Okay, so select. You can't just unselect it. You have to hold Shift and unselect it. So just FYI. Going through all of these different software platforms, sometimes I forget the rules between some of them. All right, so I'm going to select that, and I'm going to hit apply. And there is my drawing. Okay, so I'm going to hit done, and it's still fully constrained because everything is constrained on one side, and it knows that you're mirroring it over that line, so everything has to be constrained on the other side by definition. All right, so since we're fully constrained, we can go ahead and extrude this. So I'm going to hit finish, and I'm going to pick an extrude. Now, the difference between using construction geometry and regular geometry is that these would be two separate extrusions, and I'd have to pick both sides. Since it is construction geometry, it doesn't see that divider in the middle. It doesn't see that as geometry when it goes to extrude it. All right, so our distance is 5.0. And I am going to do this as a mid-plane, as I always do. And there is our base extrude. Okay, so we have everything we can do on this surface, or this face, done. So now we're going to move on to this face. And I'm going to create this on the back, or the furthest most face, the face closest to me in this view. And I'm going to hit Sketch, and we're going to do the rest of this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a cut out of here. All right, so I'm going to create a rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a basic rectangle. And I know that this is 0.75. I know that this one, I believe, is 0.75 as well. I believe it's safe to assume that that's 0.75. It actually doesn't tell you. And in fact, the top little notch sticking up is 1 inch. But it appears to me that that's 0.75, and that notch is actually a little bit longer. So we're going to make this 0.75. And the height of this is going to be 3.5 minus 1.25. So we're going to end up with 2.25. And that looks exactly right. So it's right there on that edge. Okay, we are fully constrained there. That's good, but we're not done. We can do a lot more on this face. So I'm going to stay on this face. So that takes care of that. Now we have a cutout up here that we need to add, and a hole as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create that hole. And that looks like it's a 0.5 hole. And that is dimension from here to there. And the center of that hole is 3.5. All right. Next. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. Okay, so this is an example why I do these in real time. We're going to actually exit this sketch. And we're going to go back and we're going to change something. So what's cool about this is even though I made a mistake, I forgot to do something, I can still go back and change it. So it's not a big deal. So I'm going to go back to my extrusion, my sketch, and I am actually going to change this. And I'm going to add on the the half-inch radius that part sticks higher. So we're going to make that a 4.0. And we're going to make this a 1.75. And this is going to be a 1.75. And that looks pretty good. And we're going to hit finish. And there we go. So now that we've extended that, we can go back to our sketch, this one here, and we can, first off, let me constrain this first hole. It looks like that is a 1/2 inch in from the edge. 0.5, enter, and I am also going to draw my arc there. Okay, so that looks good. This here, oops, go straight line. So I'm going to go a straight line from here. Actually, check that. That's not where it goes. I am going to create a straight line from here, though, so I can trim this. And then straight line down. And it would appear that that is 0.5. And I'm going to draw over, up, over. Okay, so this is going to be 0.5. I already got that right. 1.0. Okay, so it looks like I need one dimension yet, and I do need to trim something here. And I think I know where that one dimension is. I think it's this line here. So it's fully constrained. All right, let's see if we can extrude this or we need to connect this. Finish. And let's extrude. Through wall. Reverse that. Oh, need that one too. And we need to do a cut. And that one's a cut. And let's not forget about the hole. All right, so that looks like everything that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And there is our part. So we were able to do this in 2 operations, 2 features. We were able to create this. And it's just, you know, just thinking about how you can do it and being able to do it in as few as possible, but also being able to keep that drawing intent. The good thing about this is, I need to name this BASEXTR. I'm going to call this side cut. The good thing about this is I can go back to these and I can change just about any feature on there just by going into these sketches. I can change pretty much all of the shapes that I need to change if I were to need to change them. But there we go. Everything there looks good and our sketch is finished. Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to go into eye properties, and it's saying that this is made out of cast iron. So we're going to go ahead and select our cast iron, iron cast, apply, close. And there we go. That is our finished part. So if you have questions, of course, as always, you can see me during my office hours, or obviously you can ask me during class.